To the Life School Masterclass Show, where 6 and 7-figure CEOs build their purpose-driven legacy businesses through proven branding, marketing, and sales strategies so that they don't have to sacrifice their income and happiness for their mission. Thanks for watching the Life School Masterclass Show. Join our Facebook group community of badass mission-driven entrepreneurs, and come back next week, same place and time, for our upcoming show.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Life School Masterclass Show, the place for no fluff, easy to implement, 20 minutes or less business and leadership advice. I am your host, Alona Lapari, Fortune 500 CEO turned purpose-driven entrepreneur. Today, I have the amazing honor to have another beautiful guest on. I have Dr. Melissa Balizan, and we will speak more about how to ditch the pills towards a more holistic you. I'm looking forward to Dr. Melissa really sharing a lot of wealth of information and knowledge and education around the area with us today. Welcome, Melissa.
Thank you so much for having me, Alana. It's a pleasure to be here on the Life School Masterclass.
The pleasure is absolutely all mine. So let's start with a great introduction so that our audience can learn more about who you are and what you do.
Sure. So I am a pharmacist by trade. I have 26 years of experience in healthcare, both Eastern and Western medicine. I have helped thousands and thousands of patients optimize their health, ditch those pills that are unnecessary. That includes those supplements that you're taking, as well as those prescription medications, over-the-counter medications, anything that you take that might not be appropriate for you, or just treating a symptom. So one of the things that my physician friends, they do call me a de-prescriber, because I do pull off all those extra medications that are not necessary and help you get down to the root cause of the problem.
I love that. And it's a little odd that you are a pharmacist and you are here talking to us and educating us on how to ditch the pills. So tell me about how that came about.
Sure. So I went into pharmacy school actually to help somebody find a cure for a condition that the physicians could not help them with. And so I learned a lot about the processes of the medications, how they affect the body, how the supplements affect the body. I ended up finding a supplement regimen for that individual, and she's still on it today. Over 26 years later, her hematologist approved the regimen, which was really good, and got her off of some harmful prescription medications. So I do feel there is a time and a place for prescription medications, especially like emergency medicine. That's very good for us to have that, as well as sometimes we need that little crutch to get us through. If we haven't been taking care of ourselves completely, then it's a possibility that we need to have a short-term prescription medication to help us along the path. And sometimes there's an alternative, there's a supplement. And my path is really to help you understand that you have a choice. And I think that I went into pharmacy school with the mindset of being able to learn and help people and acknowledge them about what they're taking and really optimize their health. And when I look back, I've been doing that for so many years. People would come into the clinics that I worked with, and they would bring me their bag of medications. And we would go through and we'd sit down and we'd figure out, okay, well, why are you taking this medication? Why did your physician prescribe this? You're going to 5 different physicians, and hopefully you're going to one pharmacy, because if you're going to one pharmacy, then at least that pharmacy can check for drug interactions. That pharmacist can check for drug interactions. That's something that a lot of people don't realize. But helping them optimize and getting rid of things that weren't necessary for them when they're taking a medication to combat the side effect of another medication.
I love that you did, kind of clearly give us that difference, because there is a time and a place, obviously, for when we need to take drugs, and we need to get better with certain things. So it's funny how my background, when I was in corporate, I worked for big retail, pharmaceutical companies. So I always saw the role of the pharmacist a very respectful role, where you are really always advising the patient on all the different interactions of how medications actually interject with what the doctor prescribes. So awesome, really cool information. So Melissa, can you walk us through then, how do we ditch the pills? What is this whole mission about, ditching the pills into a more holistic, as you call it with a W, more holistic life?
Yes. So it's what I say it with a W because it is whole body health. So you want to be more holistic, you want to be more natural, but you have to look at the whole picture of that. When we learned about physical education when we were younger. We had gym class and we had school like that. But what we didn't learn in grade school was we didn't have mental wellness. We didn't have spiritual wellness. We didn't have emotional wellness. All of these play a role in your holistic you. And that's why I say it with a W, because we have to look at the whole picture. There could be things underlying that go on. So the root cause, when you're looking at something, I had a gal that fell down the other day, and I was talking to her, and she fell and she hurt her arm. And so she went into her physician, she got her arm fixed. And that's the thing, you go in to see your physician and they're treating that symptom. So they're treating that one thing, the symptom of your arm. But what they're not realizing is there could be an underlying root cause. Why did she fall down to begin with? Now, not all physicians, but most physicians, they're very targeted. Some will take a little bit more time, but most are like, okay, we're here for this one little thing. And when we sat down and we looked through things and we went back in her history, she was actually put on a medication that was making her dizzy. And it wasn't by that physician that she saw, it was by a different physician. So that physician didn't even realize that. So when we got down to the root cause, we actually got rid of the medication that was making her dizzy, which made her fall down. And we're treating her with a supplement at this time. But that's a piece of the puzzle. And so we're also helping her. And I have a lot of clients that come to me that they're just on supplements. And so they want to be more holistic. So we look at their supplements and we go through and we get rid of things that aren't necessary. And we look at that whole picture of health. So we look at what they're doing for their movement. We look at their nutrition. We look at how well they're supporting themselves with self-care and stress management. Our society today has just become accustomed to stress. We just think it's natural, it's normal. And to an extent, yes, stress is good for the body. There's good things and then there's bad things. The thing is with women, when you hit that stress cycle and you go into that high stress, then it takes 24 hours for you to recover from that stress cycle. Well, that's a whole day. And if you just keep going and going and going, it's never ending. Now, men, however, it takes about 9 hours for them to recover from their stress cycle. So they can recover and have a few hours and be fine. But these are things when we're stressed to the max and we're not taking care of our whole body, sleep, what we're eating, drinking enough water, all of these things play a role in how we're being more holistic. And we want to get back to being that holistic view. Sorry, my little girl here. So being that holistic you, I think, is the best thing. And learning to safely ditch those pills, because you can't just stop certain things. You can have detrimental side effects to stopping medication abruptly. You can die. You could go into withdrawals. You could have severe nausea, vomiting, headaches, dizziness. All kinds of bad things can happen if you just abruptly stop one of your medications. So I help people taper off, ditch those pills by incorporating those lifestyle medicine techniques and things, coming up with that therapeutic customized plan for them.
Well, I love what you do because there is so much behind that, and the holistic approach is so important, right? Because we all looking to live a healthier lifestyle in all different areas, and it's so true how a lot of times with stress and all this uncertainty and everything that we're going through, we just don't really understand or are aware of how that actually affects us and how everything else is actually, come into play in our overall health. So I love that you actually take that approach, and all the experience that you've had over the years, you're able to bring that to your clients. So, Dr. Melissa, can you walk me through maybe a framework or something that you help your clients with specifically, so our audience can understand this a little bit more clearly as to what exactly is it that you offer and how is
Sure.
it that you currently help your clients?
Absolutely. So I have a client right now who came to me because she's on some medication to help with her pain. It is not a traditional opiate or anything like that. It's a medication to help with more of a nerve pain, but she doesn't want to be on it anymore because she's been on it for so many years and she wants better choices. And so that's one thing that she's taking. She's also taking a boatload of supplements, which we're going through and streamlining those because, as I said earlier, supplements, we want to make sure that you're taking the right supplements for you. So we're going through and I do an assessment, a full assessment, which includes getting your history. So I want to know what you have in the past. So if you've had certain conditions or disease states or you've been diagnosed with something, I want to know about that. We go through and we review all your medications. We review all of your supplements. We look at lab work. We look to see if you need lab work ordered. If you need lab work ordered, I order that for you. I have different ways we can do that. We can do a couple of we can do point of care tests that come directly to your house where you just prick your finger, like somebody who's diabetic would prick their finger. We also have phlebotomists that can come to your house, or you can go to a lab if we need to order lab work for you. So that's one thing that I do is I review those labs, and then we set out a plan based upon what your goals are. So if your goals, like this individual, is to get off the medication. She's also looking to lose a little bit of weight, which most of us women, no matter what, we are. And so we are reviewing her nutrition. We're going through her movement activities. I've incorporated movement things with her that are specific to her. If I just give you something to do and you have bad knees, then that might not be the most appropriate thing for you. So that's why I do that full assessment, look to see exactly what's the right therapeutic plan just for you. And as we create that customized plan, we're looking at, okay, how long is it going to take us to get off those medications? Sometimes it's going to take a while. It's probably going to take 6 months or more, depending upon what you're taking. We have to make sure that we're backfilling and we're supporting you on whatever it is that we're treating. So for her, the pain control, I have some tools in my tool belt that are non-drug, non-chemical that we're incorporating to help with that pain. We're also incorporating looking at her sleep, looking at her nutrition, because those are key components to the whole body health. And also how she's doing for stress. So I also do a stress analysis on anybody that comes to me to make sure that how they're dealing with their stress right now. So we look at stress management, that self-care piece as well. Those are things I like to say that I wrap everything with that self-care bow, because we tend to, as a society as a whole, we tend to not take as good care of ourselves. We take care of everybody else and then we come back. But if we fill up our cup first, then we are so much better at being able to fill everybody else's cup up. And so I make sure those techniques are incorporated and go through this process. We meet weekly for half an hour and go through what's kind of bothering you that week. I ask different questions and I've set up that plan for you. And so we talk about the customized therapeutic plan. We talk about if there's new labs that need to be ordered. We talk about your supplements. We get you on good quality supplementation. That's another key thing. Not all supplements are created equal. There are good companies out there and there are not so good companies out there. And I want to make sure that you're not throwing your money down the toilet. So let's get you, if you need supplements, let's get you on good quality supplementation.
Mm. We Yeah, I mean, this is such a unique offering. I've never heard of this before. This is amazing. The way that you are able to give the private consultation for someone that, their ultimate goal is to get off that medication that they're actually taking. So the people that come to you, Melissa, do you handle a specific health issue, or is it just who are the types of people that are needing the help that you can offer?
Sure. So, if anybody is taking medication, they should probably talk to me just to make sure that they're taking what's appropriate for them. If they're trying to get off of medication, that's usually the clients that come to me. They don't want to be on medication anymore. And most of them fall within a few categories. They're on an anti-anxiety medication, they're on an antidepressant medication, they're on some kind of pain medication, or they're on something for their heart, such as high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes. Those are typically the group that most of the, often will find me, because those are medications that they've been told by their physician that they're on, and they're on for life, and there's nothing can be done. And that's not true. There is absolutely stuff that can be done. There's education that needs to take place as well. And being motivated to want to go off of your medications, but do it in a safe manner. Those are the people that come to me.
Love that. And what are some client stories that you've kind of helped them sort of ditch their drugs or their medications for a more holistic life? Can you give
Yes.
any you could share with us?
Absolutely. So I had one client who came. He was a little different, a little unique. Let's say he had a heart related condition, not specific, but ended up on several blood pressure medications along the process. Actually, came out on 7 different blood pressure medications after being released from the hospital. He had been in the hospital for a couple of weeks. And typically and this is standard, when you go into the hospital for a cardiac event, if you have to have a stent or you've had a heart attack or bypass surgery, it's protocol for you to come out of the hospital with 5 to 8 new medications if you weren't on them ahead of time. So this individual came out. There were some other things that he had already been taking. And so it ended up that he was taking medications 4 times a day. Some of the medication was making him sleepy. Some of the medication he had to eat with. His life was ruled by the prescription medications he was taking. And what happened is, now this took a few years because there were so many medications. But what happened is, working with him over time and working with his lifestyle, working with his physician as well, because I work with the physicians, because as we're tapering off of medications, I don't prescribe those medications. I recommend what dose we need to go down to. We still need that physician to write the prescription to get us down to the next level of dose. So because certain things can't be broken in half, certain things are capsules. You can't cut things. So we work with that physician to start tapering down the dosage. Now this took about 2 years for this individual, but over that 2-year span, able to get him off the medications that were making him sleepy, switch some things around. He's now taking 3 prescription medications. He does take some supplementation. I think he's on 4 different supplements now, but that's because of his choice of where he wanted to be. He's done certain things with his lifestyle, with the movement and nutrition and paying attention there, but then he was still deficient in some things. So those supplementations came in, but getting him down from 7 prescription medications down to 3. Now, yes, it did take a little while because there were some challenging things, but he's not falling asleep anymore. He's not having to eat with all of his pills. And that makes a huge difference. When you have to eat something with every time you take a pill or it makes you sick, you gain weight. No matter what, that happens because you're eating every 2 hours. Now, there's certain things that, he was eating every 2 hours and he was sleepy. So he wasn't moving. So we got some things adjusted and he's so much happier now. And he's been doing great for several years.
No, that's an amazing transformation right there. And another question that I think would be in someone's mind, just knowing their, healthcare system, what would make you different from someone that maybe could get this from their insurance, or like a consultation with someone that can help them do this? Like, what do you think makes you different with the kind of work that you're doing?
So I think what makes me stand apart is I take time to sit and listen to you. Now, a lot of your physicians they're very crunched for time, especially because they're run by insurance. Insurance dictates how much time you can spend with your client. Most of the holistic practitioners don't take insurance, and so I fall in the middle because I say there's a time and a place for Eastern and Western medication. But I take the time to listen to you. I take the time to go through and walk alongside you on your journey, help you, educate you. If you have questions, what is your choice? If you've been diagnosed with diabetes and you don't want to go be taking metformin, well, let's look at your choices. Let's look to see what choices we have for you, and can we get you on something that's a supplement that's going to help control your blood sugar. So I sit down and I look at that, where if you just go into your traditional physician's office, their typical thing is just to write you a prescription. They're not going to tell you, they're not going to educate you on movement and nutrition. And that's because it's not taught in medical school. Just like pharmaceutical knowledge is not taught in medical school. Physicians who prescribe on average have about 600 hours of pharmaceutical training. That's it. 600 hours. And I have well over 52,000 clinical hours. So there's a disconnect there. They're great at a lot of different things, but they're allowed to prescribe, and then the pharmacist is here to make sure that medication is appropriate for you, to make sure that it's not going to interact with your other things, make sure it's not going to interact with your supplements. And I think the other thing that sets me aside is that I will take time to go through your supplements and your over-the-counter medications, and we'll check for those interactions. We'll check for those adverse effects, and then we'll get you off of what you don't need to be on anymore.
Mm. Well, absolutely. There's definitely tons of value on getting your help with the work that you're doing. Amazing work. Thank you so much, Melissa, everything you shared on our show today, from really your mission of how you're helping patients and people with that, and every other little nuggets that you shared over as far as like what does it mean to have a holistic approach to health. And we all need that information for sure. So thanks so much for everything you shared. And I usually ask my guests, we've reached the end of our show, what is that mission or impact that you would like to make in the world with the work that you actually do?
That's a great question. So my impact, I want to impact like 30,000 people in the next 2 years, so that they can learn that they have choices, learn that they have choices in their health, that it is not just, it's not one size fits all. Really changing the dynamic of healthcare, versus, so we're looking to be healthier, and we look at preventative treatment versus when you're already 5 years down the road and you end up in the hospital. So that's my impact, is I want to help you educate yourself now, so that you're not having to be on hundreds of medications, or like your parents are. That's a lot of, I get people come and say, well, my parents were on so many 30, 40 medications. And I see that. I've seen that. And so I want to make sure that you don't end up like that.
Beautiful, beautiful mission. I wish you lots of luck and success on that. It's definitely a way that you are impacting the world with what you're doing, your work, your experience, everything that you are doing day to day. And lastly, Melissa, I'd love to get our audience to connect with you further and really learn more about the work that you are doing. Where is it that they can find you?
Absolutely. So the best place is to find me at drmelissabalizan.com/podcast. And I have a special gift for you there. If you go and check, then there is an ebook, and there's also a place to book an appointment with me. But if you, there's 5 questions that you should ask yourself. Well, actually, not yourself. 5 questions you should ask your healthcare provider before starting or stopping a medication or a supplement. So there's an ebook on there. So it's drmelissabalizan.com/podcast.
Absolutely. That's very generous of you. So I hope our audience really checks you out and takes advantage of the ebook and all the great stuff that you have shared with them there. Thank you so much again, Melissa. We've actually reached the end of our show. Thanks for being on our show. Thank you all so much for listening to the Life School Masterclass show. If you enjoyed this episode, do me a favor, subscribe to the show. We are heading for #1, and I would love all your reviews and subscriptions so you don't miss any great information and content that we share with you that is life-changing. Thanks so much and have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye, everyone.